started.
Canterbury. From where? New Zealand. Okay. I'll try d4. Knight f6. Okay. And we'll get a King's Indian or a Nimzo-Indian. Here, let's allow a Nimzo. And he goes for it. So I'm playing my old Rubinstein variation. He just castles. That's fine. Okay, I get to develop the bishop. And the knight. The knight helps shore up the d4 pawn. Do I want to take with the knight or the pawn? I guess I want to take with the pawn. It opens up this line for the bishop, and it gives me a little more center presence. Now here, I can let him create an isolated queen's pawn. And just castle. I think I will. So I've got the IQP, the isolated queen's pawn. But I have good development here. I think it's a reasonable position. Can I even play d5 right away? What does he do after d5? If he takes, I take. He takes, I take. That's all about even. Let's see, how about I kick the bishop? He's not threatening to take the pawn that's defended. Bishop retreats. Yeah, so it seems like I have some kind of space advantage here. Let's see, I want to bring the bishop out. Maybe bring it all the way to here. I could try and set up this classical attack with bishop c2, queen d3, mate on mate on h7. And he's indirectly looking at this knight here. This pawn is still defended. So I'm ready for queen d3, and once that's played, there really is a threat just to take the knight and then take on h7. So at some point he has to react to that, probably after queen d3, g6. But then he has, dark squared weaknesses, the usual trade-off. And he goes g6 right away. Okay, so this knight is defended twice and attacked once. The bishop can go to h6, chase the rook to the e file. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Now, do I want to play h4, h5? Well, the knight can just take it on h5. I need the bishop there. Or, let's see, I could just bring some rooks to the center here. Let's lift the queen up. Let's start with that. Start with the queen left. He can bring his knight to g4 there, and maybe that's good. Okay, he's controlling the b5 square. I hadn't really thought about that, but maybe knight b5 was a move there. So let's put a rook on the c file. Often useful. Okay, his queen is wandering away from the king side. But it's looking here at my king side. Let's stop knight to g4. Knight g4 is out of the question now. And let's unpin the pawn. So queen e3, and then rook e1. I need to keep defending the pawn. Get the rook behind it, and then maybe pushing would be an interesting move here. Rook e1 and pawn to d5. He hasn't blockaded it yet. Okay, stopping to think. That's good. That's an interesting move. So he's looking at these holes on my queen side, particularly c4. It looks like knight c4 is an interesting move here. His queen is a bit exposed on the c file, but I have two pieces to clear. I don't think I can clear them both with tempo. So after knight to c4, what do I do? Do I give up the b pawn? Or do I play b3 here and try and prevent it, giving up the a pawn? Or I could move my queen in advance. Say, oh, but if I move the queen away, this pawn... Oh no, this pawn is no longer under attack because he moved the knight away. Okay, so I could drop the queen back. And then if he plays knight to c4, I have time to defend. You can still play knight to c4, but it's not a fork anymore. And let's see, I'd like to get back to my ideas on the king side. Maybe knight e5 and then pawn h4, h5 with the queen here looking at that square. He still can take it with the knight. And maybe ideas of a sacrifice on f7. Knight here to f7, king takes, and here. Okay, so he's piling up on the e pawn, so that gives me a chance to bring my rook here, which is what I wanted to do anyway. And now he goes for the blockade. That's the normal strategy, to blockade this pawn. Stop me right in my tracks from pushing it forward. So I can play knight e5 here. What's he got? He's got knight to this square. This knight's not going anywhere at the moment. Can I take advantage of that? Is this knight stranded here? I mean, that's covered, that's covered. I can go back to c6. So pawn here, knight c6. Leaves this guy hanging. Knight takes, bishop takes. There's knight to, maybe that's the idea, knight to e4 hits the queen. Let's see how he reacts to that. If he plays knight f5 and knight f4 anyway, I can, yeah, so he has to move the queen. But this square is pretty well covered. This okay, let's hop in with the other knight too. See if I can activate both my knights and get something going here on the king. So now a sacrifice on f7 is looking likely because I can take, king takes, and I can get at least a queen check in here. But maybe there's not enough follow through. I can bring the other knight to g5. So knight's on e5 and g5, and I can just take that pawn. Okay, so he hits my knight, and let's see. There's no en passant here because I didn't have a pawn there. There's a sacrifice here. This is not looking great yet. Knight to g5. Maybe he just takes it with the bishop. Still, it looks like an interesting square. Okay, the bishop from there can take either knight, setting himself up. But the knight is no longer guarding h5, right? So I can now think about, well, he can play his knight to f4 here. I have to watch out for that. Knight c4 is not happening. Okay, let's start on with the h-pawn. Let's do this h-pawn push. And he did go there. Okay, I was thinking knight. Oh, queen there is not possible. Good thing I didn't play that. Queen f3 is under the glare of the bishop. So where? Queen here, I guess? Hitting the knight. Now we can take this knight.
Server announcement.
That's not working. He can just take this knight. It's not protected because the pawn is pinned. And his bishop defends this knight, which I was attacking. So bad. I needed to play... he tried something else. This probably works too. Oh yeah, that's defended there. Okay, so I need to save this knight before I lose more material. Let's see, how can I do that? Unpinning here is the plan. Can I get anything on this C pawn here? D E pawn rather. And he's attacking this guy. Yeah, I just have too much stuff hanging at the moment. Queen here, he's going to take there. Then what? Okay, so queen here. I'm threatening a pawn over here. Not the most relevant pawn, but what am I to do? I needed to unpin this pawn so this knight was defended. And if I can take on b6, then I'm looking at e6 here, and I've got two guys on it. So this is kind of a roundabout way of getting to the center here. Okay, let's see what he's got here. Knight to c6, I take it. Queen here, probably I have to trade out. Those trades favor black, by the way. That black has got a winning endgame here with the pawn up and active pieces. And my pawn structure is kind of a mess. There's 1, 2, 3 isolated pawns now. In addition to having an extra pawn, my remaining pawns are all weak. Or at least 3 of them are. Okay, he's taking his time trying to figure out the best move. That's good play, good strategy. Yeah, I never managed to get a sacrifice going over here on the king side. I was too... It kept me busy with things on the middle and the queen side. Okay, so he decides to go ahead and take here. And grab another pawn. Okay, so he's letting me have this pawn. And where's the next check coming from? Is the queen coming in and mating me? I don't see it right away, so I think activating my queen here is a good idea. Maybe he brings his rook up and he just trades it off. I was threatening to take his rook and win a rook there. Okay, now I grabbed the other pawn. So can I somehow get to the back rank here? Like rook here, queen here is a problem. Rook to rook d7. He's got queen e1, which looks pretty fatal. Check. He doesn't have a check here just yet. Okay, rook here. I mean, knight here. Rook takes, or queen takes. Either one. Well, if he takes with the queen, then I can take this guy. If he takes with the rook, then I have a check, but then the rook just comes back. Take, queen takes. Okay, let's kick this knight. Maybe I can win the bishop if I don't get mated. Let's see, this knight is guarding the f3 square.
Check.
Okay, that gives him an escape for his bishop, hitting my rook. So I take the knight, though. Let's calculate. I take the knight. He has to trade queens. Then, after I take back, he takes the rook. I take back. Isn't that... he's losing this bishop, this knight, and this queen, right? So don't I come out ahead? So queen takes knight. If he takes the rook, I grab the queen. So he has to move the queen. He probably takes. I take back. He takes the bishop. He takes the rook. I take back. I'm I've got 2 bishops against his rook. Let's play this endgame. Play this endgame and see if I can do something. Oh, he's got all those pawns. Ah, he didn't do that. Well, that's a lucky win. Got to notice all these little things. Okay, so queen and bishop against rook and bishop.
Black
and he has
resigns.
extra pawns. Oh, he's getting mated on the next move anyway. Okay, well, interesting game. I will upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.